Welcome to Wise Youth Unplugged. I am Ananias Santana. I have my good friend Michael Williams here and Gio. I don't know if I got his last name. Marquez. And God bless you. And yes, we're going to talk about responsibility today. An important lesson that anybody can use, like Christian or secular, you can use responsibility. But from my perspective, and we're gonna talk about our perspective, like from what we experienced and how we saw in society, how we're gonna talk about taking responsibility. But before we do that, I want to remind you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Make sure y'all share.
Yeah, share this video.
If you have any questions, make sure you comment. Yeah, you know the deal. Make sure you comment, share, spread the love, spread. If you have anything to ask us, just let us know too. So, so let's see what you got, Eddie Nice. What you got for me today?
All right, so Proverbs 22 verse 6: train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This verse is talking about like just being parents. Like I'm not a parent yet, but I have taken care of kids. I've taken care of my younger cousins, and it's important to train them now and take the responsibility of taking care of your child or taking care of your brother or sister or anything in your possession that's been given to you, and that you have authority over, so that like you train now that is still their mind is still young, that you can teach them the right ways so they won't leave it when they're older.
So would you say, I notice a lot of people from the older generation complain about how bad this generation is. That's what they usually say. So would you say that's because of the system or how things are going, or do you say it's the kid themselves, they just don't want to behave, or do you think it's a parent thing?
Oh, that's kind of like a little complicated, because like it can be like everybody has free will. Like I can stop being a Christian. Yeah. Like my parent could be pastors, and they're pastors, and I can like when I'm old enough to move out the house, I can just live my own life. I have the decision to do that. But I have free will, but like how our parents raise us is like one of the the biggest factor of how we ending up being like how we end up being. Like if we didn't have our dads in our life, we're gonna look for more influence, like more like strict influence, like somebody that's like bosses around and stuff. And if we're like I'm not saying like that, but like you know more about that more than me, so can you?
Yeah, of course. Like for me, we get a lot of issues about the generation or our current generation. They like to say, a lot of things about this generation, which are all true, honestly. But you have to remember, something just can't be created without someone making it. Something can't just come out of the blue. And that has a lot to do with the generation that raised us. The generation that raised us, at this point, this generation is the one that has the highest divorce rate. There seems to be no value of consistency when it comes to commitment with responsibilities or with people. And so there's a generation full of people who don't have their fathers. There's a generation of people who don't have an entire family. There we go. My boy Gio's here. There's an entire generation where there's no family structure. Then what can we really do? Can we really blame the generation that is here now for their mistakes or their behaviors, or do we put that upon the generation that raised them? If there's no one to raise you, like I said, it says train up a child. What do you do when there's no one to train the child? There's nothing left. They have to train themselves. They learn by their own experiences. So when you're growing up and you don't have someone to tell you what's right from wrong, you just do whatever you think is right. When everybody tells you what's right, you just do it. If everybody tells you, oh, smoking is good, what are you going to do?
Smoke.
Because nobody trained you to say
smoking is bad.
So it's a lot of, we have to take responsibility. I'm not a parent either, but you have to take responsibility as parents. I guess that's advice for our parents. They have to take responsibility in terms of in the crucial ages, because they miss their time period too. They try to raise their kids when they're old enough to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you're supposed to raise them from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So that causes a lot of conflict too, because we have a lot of parents holding out older children because they didn't raise them in the correct time in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that, Jill?
I think that's true, but sometimes too, I think some parents tend to want their kids to teach their kids too. Sure. So how would that affect, like you know, like you're saying that the parents should teach their kids, but how about kids that, like your siblings that teach your siblings? How you gonna have a sibling teach, let's say that sibling's in the wrong, because like, you know, the parent's not taking care of him, and then that sibling is gonna teach that other sibling, the younger one, the same thing that he's used to or she's used to.
And that happens a lot too, because
it happens a lot.
Usually, like if you're a single mom and you're at work,
mm-hmm.
say you're working 2 jobs, and you have multiple kids, the oldest kid is gonna be the one who.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
It happens a lot. The oldest kid is gonna be the one who's the parent, the second parent, because I've heard this from a lot of people actually. They
mm-hmm.
say that they have to cook and clean for their siblings or make sure everything's in order. Exactly. And really, you're in the age you're supposed to be doing homework.
I had my younger cousins. They used to last year they slept over our house for a whole month.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, he's like old enough to play with technology and everything, but he doesn't know how to like cook for himself. So, and he's like 12. He was like 12 or 11,
mm-hmm.
and he didn't know how to like do some like basic stuff, right? So I had to like take care of him. I had to like make sure he eat food, cause like he be unsupervised. If he has a device, he'll stop eating or drinking or using the bathroom.
Oh no!
And like he'll like do stuff like to get himself in trouble. Like if unless unsupervised, he'll do almost anything. Like anything he wants. Like he uses like other people's property, like. And like his mom's stuff, like credit card or something. Like I have to like keep an eye on him, and I have to keep an eye like be careful what he says too, because he likes talking a lot,
mm-hmm.
and I have to like help him and correct him so that like he won't say nothing out of place or to get him in trouble, and he doesn't like that, right? Because he's like, oh, you're so oppressive, you're so mean, but like as like his older cousin. And
that structure is
mm-hmm. I'm not here to like just be your best friend. I'm here to like model you, because like even though your parents are doing a good job, like I see some things that they probably don't, mm-hmm. and I'm trying to help them out and model something so like this won't like be go to like in the future. Like he likes to talk back a lot. I telling him stop talking back a lot, because whenever you talk back, that's disrespectful first of all. And you're gonna talk back to the wrong person, and you're gonna
beat you down. Like for me, growing up, like for me, I didn't. I see a lot of people now. They're in high school and they have jobs,
mm-hmm.
and which is cool because you don't want to have to depend on your parents for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew in myself, like when I was in high school, I knew I couldn't work and go to high school at the same time. It was gonna be impossible for me. I was not gonna be able to do it because the type of person I was, and that was good for the right time. But now I'm in school and work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a responsibility I have. It's an added responsibility. The more you get older, the more responsibilities you
really
do. And I don't know what it is, but God has given me a gift to be able to choose my friends. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I picked the right friends in high school. We did some bad things. For the most part, they weren't caught up in dealing drugs or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would make decisions with them, we all had a like mind when we made our decisions. So if we went somewhere, we'd go there with a genuine, oh, let's have some fun, but it's not like, oh, let's roll a blunt. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that God has given me that ability. But
Amen.
I believe a big part of it is the parents choosing to be responsible. But also, when you start getting older, so you'll realize that it's the free will, like you said. Mm-hmm. So everything comes in a balance, and when everything comes in a balance, just the littlest thing can tilt the scale over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Move the neck.
Yeah, you can move that out the way.
Yeah, commenting on it.
But, yeah, typical scale. So, let me ask you a question, Ananias.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you, at your age, have had to take responsibility over?
That's
like surprisingly, I have to do the media, right? I have to do setting up the program and stuff. I have to take care of my younger cousins and stuff. Taking care of the yard and like my room, like basic stuff. But yeah, let me say something about my cousins. Like like I was playing with one of my cousins, right?
Yeah.
And she was holding one of my other cousins, right? Like my baby cousin.
I think I know what story
Yeah.
you're talking about.
As like, I'm the only boy in my family. Like out of my cousins and stuff, I'm the only boy on my dad's side of the family. And my grandpa, he's like, and I'm the oldest too, so he's like, there's like a whole bunch of like responsibility on you. Like you're the protector of like these girls and stuff. And when I was playing with my cousin, they kept telling me time and again, don't play with like, don't jugar de mano, don't like play fight with the girls. And I used to be like, oh whatever, and I used to horseplay because like I had nobody else to horseplay with. And one time she was holding the baby, and she swung at me, right, and she dropped the baby. I felt so much fear and guilt, and
I remember when that happened because a lot of people were trying to blame it on you. I remember that.
Yeah, and I had like ever since that day, I always treated the baby like always like looked after her like the younger like all my younger cousins like always looked after her like she'd be going and like on the store I'd be like yanking like she'd be like trying to go outside be yanking her inside like you're not going there like she's trying to eat something I have to like make her spit it out like we were at vacation and she went into a closet right and I was like where you at and then like she came out with like eating napkins and I was like I had to like wash her mouth and stuff so like nothing could contaminate her. But like I'm proud to be like responsible of my cousins and stuff because that puts me like it's basically training me for the future for when I become like a father I could be like more aware of what happened with my kids and stuff.
So what would you say you have learned from that responsibility?
Like I have a responsibility that like I can't act on my feelings like I can't just because I can't have an excuse like oh wow because I'm the only boy and I have nobody else to play with. These are the only people I can play with and I could do like what I want because I'm like young and stuff. Like I had like I can't like move by my feelings with my cousins and stuff like or like with anything like I don't want to like let's say like it's Saturday right and I have school all week and there's sometimes I just don't want to come to like places like don't want to come to like church to like set it up and stuff but it's not because I feel like it like I don't have to like feel like it to do it like it's my responsibility like they place like something on me like a job on me and I have to fulfill the job.
Would you say that it adds stress to your life?
Stress? Yeah like like I have to balance some things like I have to balance school I have to balance church and like sleep and stuff. I don't know why I haven't been sleeping so much. Like I be waking up with like strange dreams, going to sleep. Like it's like I have to be more responsible in some things though. Like my schoolwork, my sleep, my health, my schoolwork. Cause I'd be noticing I'd be falling asleep in school a lot. And
I'm that guy. I'm that same.
I never fell asleep in school.
And then my eyelids get heavy, and I'm just like going out, bonk, like just start dancing.
I was like that this past week in training.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I had like, but I like to from that. I like from that story, the school sleeping. There's something I catch myself right, sleeping like, so I have to ask my teacher to like to give me a stand like a pulpit, Like you know, like
so you
one
can
of
stand
those,
up and,
yeah,
and
stand
write, so
and
you
write.
won't fall asleep.
Yeah, so
See, that's a simple way of being
To be responsible, yeah, because you don't
I
want
had
to.
to stand and write for like almost the whole class because I was falling. And, but I get my work done.
See,
This has responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, if I felt sleepy, I just slept. Like I'm just gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'll just do this later. Like that's what my mindset back then. And since due to the whole coronavirus and and how that like pushed me behind in school and how I want to graduate this year, like I had to like get rid of the mindset of like, oh, I feel tired. I just gotta take a little nap right now. I had to like push myself through it and stuff.
Ooh, I got a story.
What's
Let me
up?
ask Gio the same questions.
Oh,
So, what are some things that you have had to take responsibility of?
sheesh. At this age right now that I'm at.
Anything, like, or yeah, everything up to this age.
Alright, so let's see. Right now, my responsibilities are right now work. I have to, show up for work, pay bills. I gotta help my mom. That's one big responsibility to me right now. I have to, like he said, church too. With my media team, I gotta, have responsibility with them and, work together and work on projects and stuff like that. But like he was saying, that's something I'm struggling with too on how to manage it, the time management, because I feel like I've been doing more on one side and then less on the other side. But I'm trying to find a way how to,
How to piece it together.
how to piece it together. There you go. That's the word. And it's, how can I say this? It's it gets me frustrated because I'm like, dang, bro, I could
Would you say it's add stress to your life?
a little bit,
A little bit.
a lot,
So is he you?
a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when he was talking about school, like being responsible in school. Let
Mhm.
me tell y'all a story. One time I had to take responsibility.
What's up?
So, my 9th and 10th grade year, I failed about 4 classes.
Mm.
I failed like math 3 times. I don't even remember what other class I failed. It couldn't have been language arts or history. I don't know. It's probably math all 4 times. That's what it was. But it wasn't because I wasn't intelligent, but because I just didn't pay attention.
Mm.
Listen. That was that age where I was kind of like blinded. And so coming into that 10th grade year, after that 10th grade year, in the summertime, I got a job with a friend of my mom's, very sweet lady. She's a Dominican lady. And so we would go to this school. We would go to, it's a school called Langston Hughes High School. And we would go in the rooms, and we would draw a diagram of where everything was in the room. We would pull everything out of the room and stack it into the hallway with space and leave it. So that's a lot of furniture.
Mhm.
And sometimes they never want to clean their drawers out like they asked them to. So them drawers would be like 100 and some pounds
Mm.
full of files. And so we would have to go in and clean everything. Make sure it was stacked in the hallway correctly. You can imagine this entire school. Langston Hughes is a really big school. So
But
then come in and wax the floor. Come out and put everything back to where it was. Like if nobody ever came in there. So the floor would be last. So that job was super, super, super laborious. It was like very high labor. And then every day I would be sick because it was so much dust from the school that I was sick every day. I would fall asleep every day on break after I would eat. And I would work all day. And I remember just sitting there and I was like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Because what my plan was, I just wanted to drop out of high school. I was like, I'm just going to drop out of high school and I don't know, do something more, because I didn't like school. And so I was like, man, and it started to hit me because afterward, that next summer, I got that same job. Or actually, in that same summer, I got a new job, let me say it like that. And I was in the middle of the hood holding a sign for a hair salon on Old National, on Gabi Road by the discount mall. Hell knows what I'm talking about. It's outside. So I would hold a sign out in the heat. Like I'm talking like 98-degree weather. And it's hotter when there's a lot of concrete.
Mhm.
There's a lot of concrete there. Holding a sign for a hair salon making like $7 an hour. And I was like, this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. That was the thought that came. I said, I don't want to do this the rest of my life.
Mhm.
If I don't have at least a high school diploma, who's gonna hire me?
Mhm.
What am I gonna do with this here? So you know what I did, yo? I was
What you
like,
did?
I can't do this. So I went into school that 11th grade year. You know, I had to buy my uniforms anyways too. That's what I wear. I had to buy all my uniforms. I bought all my stuff. I bought myself clothes and shoes. And the friends I had, we all went together to buy them all. We all was like, had our own thing on. I went to school and I started tackling the first thing that bothered me, and that was math. I tackled math class, but I knew I wasn't the best at math either. So I would stay after school. I was like, there's no way I can do this if I don't stay for tutoring. So I would try as hard as I could during class to understand what was going on, and then we'll come after for tutoring. And the teacher, God bless him, like he's one of those people who change your life. His name is Mr. McPherson. He used to be a pastor. He used to be a preacher. And he has such a servant heart, and he would help you and work it out with you and explain it, and he would pray with you if you needed help. So Mr. McPherson is a life changer. He took his responsibility as a teacher. So then I was the one getting A's on all the tests and stuff like that because I would stay after.
You took responsibility as a student.
And the more I was like pushing to get all the honor roll, I missed it because of my anatomy class that semester. But the next semester, I was like, I'm gonna do better. I started doing better, and then that summer I had to make up all the 4 classes. Like I would stay, and I would also have to stay after school to make up those classes that I failed. They called it 8th period.
Mhm.
So I would stay for 8th period to make up those classes, and I would push through and push through and push through. And I finally had like 1 class left I had to do going into 12th grade year. I did it in the summertime, and it reached a point where I started really taking initiative, and I started to be interactive with what I was doing. And I decided to I even made a club at school. I made a club where people could talk to each other about how they were feeling and things like that. Kind of like a class where you could just vent to each other.
Mhm.
I earned the citizenship award from my principal. I graduated with honor roll, and my GPA was like a 2. I brought my GPA to like a 3.2.
Which
in that amount of time. And if you know anything about GPA, it takes.
That boy Mike.
You gotta. When you fail, it drops, but to bring it back up,
It's a pain. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and I graduated that way, and I got into college, and I ended up being dean's list every year in college.
Which nizzle?
Now that wasn't gonna happen if I didn't do my part. I had to take my responsibility
Yes.
because I was gonna drop out of high school.
Mhm.
And look at how God works. I was about to drop out of high school, and he took me to college honor rolls to it. But you just have to take responsibility, and that doesn't include that I had to work in between and had to deal with things that are going on in my own house. And then I became a Christian too, and first love, and then you also have like you have all those things, all those questions going on.
Yeah.
So taking responsibility is just. I think the first thing you need to know when you take a responsibility is to know where you're going.
You took ownership too. I feel that's a part of it, responsibility, taking ownership. Because the truth is, no one's else is gonna do it for you. You're the one that's gonna do it yourself. That's a.
And I was the one in the class, like in the summertime, thinking of my last class. I'm like, man, why? Like I messed up, and now I'm here in the middle of the summer having to make up this class, and it bothered me.
Another thing about victim, not a responsibility is the victim mentality.
A victim mentality.
You have to be responsible. Like you can't responsibility and a victim mentality can't really mix. All right, because then you blame others for your mistakes other than yours. Like personal responsibility, maybe you're not in charge of a group, right? But you're still responsible for your actions and for your future and stuff. So you can't blame somebody else's problem. Like he's over here, but you know how unfair if you're a older, right, or an older sibling, and your younger sibling done something, they blame it on you, and you weren't even there. You were somewhere else, and they did it the thing that happened, and Oh my gosh, that's cute. I gotta correct myself sometimes.
You good?
You good?
That's how it feels like when you blame. We don't take responsibility, right? Because everybody has free will. Everybody can. As humans, we have the ability to like think like outside the box. We can like set determine what's right and wrong, and that's why this whole situation of Black Lives Matter, like, is just people not want to take responsibility and want to blame like the government, white people, like for their problems. Like, I've been seeing is like, well, our families are breaking apart, and we don't, and it's like your fault. Like, you're putting us through this. We're poor because it's like your fault, and nobody wants to talk about that. The fact that the father doesn't want to take responsibility for the child, like the kids, they don't want to take responsibility for their schoolwork, and like so much things are happening, and it's easier to blame it on somebody else. To
It's
be
always gonna be easier
yeah
to
to
blame
be
it
the
on someone else.
victim, like, even though being the victim it's easier, but you're not gonna go anywhere in life. You're gonna be like crying like most of your life. People are not gonna take you seriously. You're gonna be like, why don't people respect me? Why don't people like give me like promote me in my job? Like, if I do a job right and I slip up and I blame my manager and like they like or like blame somebody higher than me and they fired that person, like, and why, what do you gain out of that? Like,
And then, when I was working at Chick-fil-A as a manager, if something happened, the customer wasn't gonna come to them. They'd say, "What's the first thing they say?"
Where's the
"Parents."
manager? Where's the manager?
Guess who had to walk out there?
Big Mikey.
They had to walk out there and say, like, "Sir, y'all get out of my way." Yes, ma'am, I understand. I apologize.
My pleasure.
Did I mess up?
Nah.
Did I mess up her order?
Mm-mm.
But I had to fix it. I was the one who had to be responsible over that, because then I get a complaint from corporate because they filed a complaint. And the same thing where I work at now. If we do something we're not supposed to do,
Oh no.
we can get fired for that.
You get charged.
We get charged criminally for that.
Yeah.
So you have to be responsible at all times.
Integrity.
Yeah, integrity.
Integrity.
And that responsibility, because, like, for me, I think responsibility. Try not to take responsibility of the things that God doesn't have for you. Like, sometimes we like to take other people's responsibility.
They're just putting like more stuff on your, like, unnecessary burden on your back. Like,
Exactly. So, if not everybody. You ever heard the phrase, "There's too many chiefs and not enough Indians"? You never heard that?
not
It sounds familiar
There's too
about
many
that.
leaders, but there's not a lot of people doing their job as the lead. You know what I mean? So, not everybody's gonna be a chef. Not everybody's gonna be the head chef or the sous chef, whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their own responsibility.
Yeah, please
The
don't
farmer grows the plants and the crops, and they raise the animals, and they send it to the process, and the people are the chefs. Things like that. Everybody has their own responsibility, and it becomes an issue when we take on everybody's responsibility. Like, I know our pastor, he does a great job, but I know, like, he used to get a lot of headaches because he tried to take on everybody's responsibilities because people didn't want to step up. And and I appreciate it because he took the initiative to, instead of taking everybody's responsibility, he decided to delegate authority and help other people grow in where they're supposed to grow.
like, take their own, like, help them with their
train them so that when they get into their position, they can run it, as opposed to taking everybody's responsibilities, because you don't.
That's gonna kill you.
That's gonna kill you. I
Too
already
much
know,
said.
because that's a lot.
Like, imagine, like, church, like, he'd be like, somebody car is broken down, right? Or they can't go to church because they don't have a car, and service starts like 5 minutes, and he has to drive
get
them.
'em.
Yeah, and there's like people in the church that aren't doing nothing. They're just sitting down, right? And they're doing nothing, right? And he put, like, it wouldn't make sense for him to go out and pick that person up. He's late for his own service and stuff. So I'm proud of my father. He takes responsibility, but and if it's my responsibility, he doesn't like, oh son, no, don't worry, I'll do it. He's like, he points me to like the right path. Like, he doesn't let me like
Take the easy way out.
Silence, like, oh, I'll do it for you. he makes me do it. Like if I'm responsible for I remember like I forgot I forgot to take out like I forgot to like pick up like sticks from the yard and stuff, like cuz it just rained and stuff. And or no, it was the ladder. A ladder. He was cutting down a branch from the tree, and he left the ladder out. But it was my responsibility to take the ladder to the backyard. And he woke me up in the morning. He's like, I still see the ladder outside. And I was like, oh shit. And he reminded me. He pointed me to the right directions for me to take more responsibility, so I could learn from that mistake and not repeat it and stuff.
And sometimes, like you never gonna know how to pick it up until you bump your head too. Like for me, like I already said it. Like there's certain things I had to learn on my own. Like how to use certain tools. I had to learn on my own. Or like, luckily,
I feel you on that.
Yeah, certain things like you just like, how do I do this? But you still have to take that responsibility on. Or like when you get older, you gotta file taxes.
Shout out to my mom, she does it for me.
I always wondered too why they never taught us the important things in school.
I still don't know how to do my taxes.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to do
it.
it.
We have to focus more on gender studies.
On gender studies and algebraic expressions. Like they never taught us how to set up a bank account, or they never taught us what taxes were. They never taught us a lot of essential things, and so it forces us to be put in a situation where we have to take responsibility. And I think as well, life is going to put you in a position where you don't know you're going to need that responsibility, but you're going to have to take it. I remember playing instruments too. Like your dad was like, he gave me the guitar and I was learning for like maybe a couple weeks or whatever, and he was like, oh, you're going to play on Sunday. Well, I'm playing on Sunday. What do you mean I'm playing on Sunday? But I didn't say no. I was just like, okay, I need to practice harder because I'm going to play on Sunday.
Time is coming.
The time is coming. And that pushed me in a position to take responsibility, or even like the piano. I don't know if you remember that, Ananias.
What?
I had to learn the piano like 2 weeks. The first time playing, I played on the New Year's service. Can you imagine when the church is full and you like?
And everybody wants you to drop it, bro.
Oh, it was like in the small church.
No, it was here.
Oh,
it was here. Cause remember, I played the guitar first and the piano. So it's like God places us in positions too where we have to take responsibility, even though we don't need. We know we need that.
I have in Rhode Island, my dad has a friend, and he worked in the media, and he would never say no whenever somebody asked him to like he do me a favor. He's like no. He wouldn't say no. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. He would like make himself learn. Like he'll like watch YouTube videos or something, and like learn how to do it right. And now like he's like doing good, bro. He's like, I think he's making a lot of money. Like
I think I know you're talking about. Too. I just can't remember his name right now.
I think Onadi. I think that's his name, Onadi.
I thought it was Jose.
I'm pretty sure it's Onadi.
Onadi.
All right. He like his experience, like him taking responsibility, he can do it. Like, it's not like even though they're not like somebody else's responsibility, he was asked and stuff. And he took it. He took it. And he made himself learn and stuff. He can do most stuff like that. You have to like pay other people like he can do like fix his own stuff. And oh gosh, I got something.
No, you got it, bro. You got it.
Like any role models when it comes to responsibility?
I guess it would be my mom, honestly, cause.
Why do you say that?
So my mom's been through a lot. I'm not saying that everybody else like has been through a lot, but my mom has been through some things that you would think people would give up on. She lost her husband. She had 3 young kids and 1 newborn. And at that point, if you're you'll feel destroyed. And she worked 2 jobs. I know my oldest sister Faye wasn't able to go to high school. She had to drop out and go to a charter school. But thank God that she graduated and actually got her high school diploma. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, it's just I see my mom as a role model because that's a lot of responsibility. Can you imagine 3 kids and they're like teenage years, like 10, 11, what was it, 10, 12,
I can't imagine.
9, and a newborn that's 1 year old, like one. Bro, can you imagine, bro?
That's a lot of.
Can you imagine?
That's a lot of,
And 2 jobs, bro.
like, we forget how much stress comes with responsibility.
A lot.
Like, a lot. Like,
But you know that's hard. But like how you were saying, like about God puts you in those situations, and I feel God puts you in those situations to take responsibility because He knows you could handle it. He knows you could push through. I don't think He's just gonna put you in a situation that you're like, no, I can't do this anymore. Let me put this away. I can't take it anymore. I give up. No, I think He puts you on it so you could get through it, and you could grow as a person, an individual, and take the next responsibility of the next thing.
What about you, Ananias? Any role model for you?
It's my dad.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Like I see him like in church, like all my life he's been like working in church and stuff. He didn't take responsibility. He puts the responsibility on himself. When we had to do electrical work with the wires and stuff, he didn't hire somebody else. He did it himself. He would watch like videos on the internet, did it himself, like the mixer. I think he had some help on the mixer.
I know. I seen your dad do that. He was trying to put me on. That's confusing.
Yeah. he had some help with the mixer, I think. But like for the rest of the stuff, he built it himself. He became a carpenter while like working on the stage and stuff. He became like electrician and stuff. Like people would be like, how do we work the mixer and stuff? He'd be like having to come and stuff like.
Bro, he could fix that junk so quick, bro.
He's like, guys, it's simple, really, and just like walk away, and you're like, I don't know.
Because he took his responsibility. Like that's very.
He was like pastor of a church, and imagine the pastor of church not knowing how to do fix the mixer.
And there's a lot of pastors like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like we take it for granted because some pastors just let
their people and the members do the work, not actually take part of it.
It's just they just let them. Like
the
sound
mediocre
system will be mediocre or like just let them do whatever because or the microphones look like Play-Doh, like whatever.
Bro, pastor don't play around when it comes to mics, bro. He be getting the expensive.
The scene. So I be walking in some churches and they be like pretty plain, right? Like he be trying to like improve the scene and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
he always come up with something new, and that's what it is, take responsibility because he understands this is kind of like his child.
You must take care of it.
He spends this church has got like so many stages. Like we came from like just being halfway like when the church was like facing that way.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He took down the wall himself. He didn't get like a construction crew or something.
Yeah.
He himself, some other people.
The church.
He like they just like
destroyed that wall.
Destroyed the wall, the ceiling and stuff.
Up there, all the way up there.
All day.
Set up the lights up there, and he took it upon himself, and I admire that and stuff, cause,
What about you, Mikey? Who's your role model?
Definitely the pastor, for the same reasons, but also there's another person that I actually look up to who I don't know. Is actually like I learned about this guy. His name is Bass Reeves. He was a U.S. Marshal in the Wild West at the time. It sounds funny, but he was the first black U.S. Marshal, if I'm not mistaken. You know, those time people were very racist. He was a slave. Ended up being freed because he got into a argument with his master over a poker game or something like that. I don't know what it was, but he learned the language of the Native Americans because he had to escape from his master and learn how to track people and learn how to do this with the Native Americans. And so they hired him to be a U.S. Marshal. When they hired him to be a U.S. Marshal, he knew how to track all the Indian grounds and things like that. So he was the best marshal. And but not only that, everywhere he went, he would catch that person. But not only that, it reached a point where they gave an assignment to the other marshals and nobody wanted to take it. And he wanted to find out why, and it was because it was his own son. And his son had murdered his wife. Like his son murdered his own wife. And so, he had to go arrest him, and he arrested him. He didn't let him go, and next to his son, took his son in with no issue, because he's very honorable, all the things that he had to go through and how he took responsibility, even though he could have quit because of his color and because of his background. I think he's very inspirational to me, especially to me who I admire a lot of things like in law. Like that's kind of like my inspiration. The other one is my granddad too. So
I like the last part. When he didn't, the son and stuff, how he didn't stop because
That was his own flesh and blood, yeah.
How he didn't let his feelings get in the way of his duty. Like, oh, this is my son, but he still committed a crime. He still did this and stuff.
I think that's powerful.
And nobody else wanted to take the case because they didn't know how he would feel about it.
If you'll feel some type of way about it.
Yeah, or if he will come to kill them. And he did it himself. He apprehended his son, and he was so good at what he did. There was people who would have dreams of. There was this one guy who I guess robbed the town and ran away, and he had a dream that the Bass Reeves came to get him. He was so afraid that he wanted the town to surrender.
Can you imagine being?
I'll send that story to the youth. He was really good at what he did, and it's because he took it serious and understood. Even though, because a lot of times we like to say what our weakness is and let it stop us. Like we say, oh, we're Hispanic, we can't get into government positions, or we're Hispanic, we can't be a police officer. We're Hispanic, or we're black.
That's that victim mentality.
Yeah, and he was actually a slave. He was actually a slave.
Oh my God.
And he was full of people who hated him in his profession, and he still did his job. He took responsibility.
And look what he got.
Like he inspires
people,
me. Yeah, man, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's very crazy. I think the victim mentality is. I think that's what a big thing that's plaguing our society today.
Yes, it is.
Someone wants to comment on that a little bit more.
I'm actually pretty tired of the oppressed. Like, we're talking about being oppressed by something, like society's like oppressing us and stuff. Is like, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, and but I'm like, nobody's stopping you. Nobody's stopping you from doing this. And they're like, oh wow, because like we're on racist grounds and stuff. And
I feel like we're like the ones that caused our own barriers. Like,
yeah,
that's really it is. Cause
let me say something. I feel like the government, we blame the government for community responsibilities. What do I mean by that? We blame the government for something that directly affects our community. So it don't work like that.
Yeah.
If you take care of your family will take care of the community. You take care of your community, will take care of your county. Take care of your county, the other county will try, for example. And that way you can take care of your state. For example, if let's say you go and find out some statistics about your county, and let's say you have a really high murder rate. Or let me use a better example. Let's say you have a really low literacy rate in your community. Are you just going to look at that statistic and say whatever, and then blame the government and say it's a system because their people are so uneducated? Or will you get up,
teach your kid how to read,
teach your son how to read, and then go to the local elementary school or middle school, start a program? It's like we're not being effective in our communities. Because there's issues that are on a national scale. There's issues that are on a state level scale. But we do have control over our communities.
And ourselves. I love the excuse of like, if I wasn't in this position, I wouldn't have done that. It's like somebody like stole something, right? A black man robbed something. The person came out, like, she was talking about it. She was like, this person wouldn't have done this if there was food in the fridge. He wouldn't have done this if, like, that. I'm like, that's not their fault. It's not their DC's fault. For the reason why they can't feed themselves. Maybe he doesn't know, like, and if it was like, that doesn't mean like, if it was like their fault, it doesn't mean that they have to react to it. Like, they don't have to like conform to whatever they said. Like, if the government wants you to do this, like, at the end of the day, it's your decision. It's your responsibility. Like, even if you're like put in the most hardest of trials, like, it at the end of your day, it's like you have to say, like, it's your responsibility. Like Job, I think Job's like easy way out was to curse God out of his suffering. But Yeah, that was like the easy way out. Curse God and die.
I don't know if you know what he just said.
Like that's because like that's what the devil wanted.
Mhm.
Didn't want Job for like because he was a strong, powerful like leader and stuff. He wanted Job because he like loved God and stuff, and he was very prosperous.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he said God he's only doing this because
What you give him?
yeah, what you give him, but if you take it away, he will like curse you and stuff.
And God proved his point.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
That's
And-
but I love the story, John. I just,
God
I
is
was,
like, oh,
I just found out
okay.
about a couple of.
And he's like, I'll let you do it. You can do anything, but like, don't kill him. You can't kill him. And his own wife told him to curse God and die. That could have been the easy way out. That's how you like
But he
get out this
didn't
whole
do it.
situation. But he took responsibility. He's like, I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm not gonna curse God, because like at the end of the day, God is still good, right?
Amen.
And he could have conformed to that, right? But he didn't, because it was his free. He loved God, and he had like control over his own body. So the excuse of people like being like oppressed, right, and limiting themselves, and or they being so oppressed that they are forced to hurt other people for their like own benefits is dumb for me. Like I don't care who you are. Like at the end of the day, it's for you to choose. Like you still have to choose what you do.
And one thing about it, you remember Jonah, God gave him the word, but he didn't want to go take it. But then when you compare it to someone like Paul, he took it. And he took it for real. We need, man.
Man, there's so many responsibilities in the Bible. Like Jeremiah is one of them, because in the story of Jeremiah, the people of Israel, they're basically disobeying God. They're like worshiping idols. They're breaking like laws, like 7-year law of slaves and stuff, and they're just off of the way of God, right? And God's like, he gave God Jeremiah, right? And he said, I'm giving you the responsibility to tell my people to repent to me, to turn their backs from evil, right? And if you don't say nothing, it's gonna, I think he said, it's gonna fall on you, right?
When you look at Pilate, when the Jewish wanted to kill Jesus, he didn't want to kill him, but because it said that he saw they were getting so, the crowd was getting so aggressive, that he said, okay, but it's not my hands. His blood is not on my hands. And he washed his hands. I was like, it's not a responsibility. He carried out the execution because of his own people, and by his own people, the Romans. But that responsibility was placed on the Jewish. Remember, they said, let his blood be upon us and our sons and our daughters. Like, the hardest thing is to be able, to me as a Christian, the hardest thing is to be able to balance our responsibility in the ministry and God with also your secular life when it comes to work. I think that's always the biggest balance, work in church, in terms of responsibilities that you're actually doing. Because sometimes work is just so life-consuming. Because it's not like church where you have other people who are being positive. You're surrounded by a lot of negative people, a lot of pessimistic people. And don't even get me started if your job don't pay enough, struggling to pay the bills. And you like, it So it's just, it's so many things. Like it's very tough to balance that. I think that's the biggest thing. Like to be able to, for me in my personal opinion, the biggest thing with responsibility is to be able to have a balance. That's the hardest thing that I find. I think that's always going to be the struggle you have for the rest of
Because
your life.
you're gonna have like more than one responsibility.
That's exactly what
It's never just like one responsibility. You're gonna have like multiple responsibilities. You gotta learn how to balance stuff.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I wish I could just focus on this.
Yeah.
And then let's say that does happen, and
You mess it up, like.
you mess it up. Yeah, exactly. Or like for me, it's pretty difficult to be able to balance between church and then right now I'm in training.
Then you got home too.
And then I got a house too. You know.
That's something I'm
This past week, I think I was only home like 4 4 of those days. I was only there for like in my house. I went home for like 10 minutes and came right over.
And then when you're home, you're sleeping.
And then when I'm home, I had to study and go to sleep. Yeah, that's very difficult, but it's worth it though.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it. Now I know why parents get so mad with their kids. They're like, no, like you know, like, because all of this that we've gone through is experience that you can tell your kid. But then imagine like an 8-year-old telling me, why you want me to do this?
Listen, you.
Listen. Now I know how parents feel, cause I'm not gonna lie.
Your cut looking clean.
That's a nice cut, G. You smack the kid, cause you just like, but even that, taking responsibility to be able to break it down and tell them why you're doing what you're doing, and what you had to go through, and how you learned that lesson too. Cause sometimes we even express that wrong. We like a lot of people beat their kids because they don't want to take responsibility to explain and instruct.
A lot of people.
That's crazy.
Like to give like the responsibility to somebody else. Like if the teacher won't, like, I don't want to teach my kid this, right? Like proper like education about like life. Like my mom, they took me and they taught me about like sex ed, right? And they didn't want me to get my knowledge from like somebody else, right? Because like you know how like it's crazy. They teaching kids.
It's funny, bro.
They're like,
turtles and
like
snakes.
it's like, oh, you're actually a bisexual tree on the inside, and you're like,
what?
Like your 8-year-old, your 14-year-old mind was like, it can't comprehend that. And my parents, they taught me like the right, like they taught me like not only how like it works, but how to like handle it, like how to like
exactly. Because a lot of times we know, but we don't.
We know, but they don't
That's
teach
crazy.
us. They don't teach us how to handle it. They teach us, oh well, this is what
That's
happens
what you
when
do.
you put it, do that and do that. And this is the effect. But they don't teach you how to like
That's
handle
crazy.
it, how to use self-control with it and stuff. And parents, they love to like some of them.
I know I didn't
Some
get
of
that training.
Some of them love to give it to like to other people. Like some people, like they don't want to teach their kid like to like take responsibility with their kids. I just talk too fast sometimes. And they give the kid their phone and let the internet teach them.
Oh, nah.
And then complain, why my kid act like this and stuff.
Like I learned sex ed from people at school, and I'm not talking about the teachers. I mean like the other students.
The homies, the broskies.
Not even like just females. Like I'm talking 3rd grade.
I learned from my teacher, and then my
Grade,
parents
like,
too.
Or walking down the street and you see, back in the day, they used to sell CDs. It wasn't the internet. They had pornography flyers.
And some people still to this day still don't know what it is, and they could be like our age, and they still don't, are not very well educated on it.
And then like, you hear everything and you think sex is just like, oh, just have sex.
The most magical thing in the world.
Yeah, or just like, oh, like if you go to dinner, like if you eat dinner, like, oh, I'm gonna eat dinner, oh, I'm gonna have some sex real quick, and just be like, oh, don't work like that.
Don't work like that.
Don't work like that. And so like, I think definitely in your situation, your parents took their responsibility, and that you were blessed to be in that position.
They got mad when they found out I was in the class. I was gonna take the class. I had to like stay in the principal office and
just vibe there.
Yeah, just wait until
the video was over.
One of the class leave, one of the girls group or the boys group leave and stuff.
And with me, like when me and you were growing up, they didn't have all that.
We had the videos. I don't know if you
like they didn't have like the big polysexual.
Oh no.
Nah.
I remember they showed us the girls video too, and all the boys were happy about that.
I didn't show you boys. They would say stuff like, "Oh, every person you sleep with, you're sleeping with that person that they slept with."
I didn't get that talk. I got a video that said in like personal hygiene and that's it, bro. It was like I remember it was like a soccer team, a bunch of boys, and like they went to like the locker room, the boys' locker room.
Like my dad was just like, "We're gonna have sex, put a condom on." Like I mean, I don't know what that means. And I think that's like I think it's cool. They need to educate us from a standpoint of abstinence again, because that's how they used to do it. Now it's more like protection. Like you don't want to learn that from them. You gotta learn that from your parents, because each person's age is different when they start. Some people was already having sex when they took sex ed. Some people don't know what
That's crazy.
What sex means.
At 12, 13, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I've seen pregnant girls in middle school.
I seen it too. I
yeah.
seen cases. God, please have mercy.
Yeah. So it's a lot, man.
It really is.
Responsibility is a lot, and it comes in every shape and form because it's not just
Size.
a Christian thing. No,
So it's a general,
It's a everything thing. Like
every
life.
day, every minute thing.
Like right now, I'm thinking about responsibility I gotta do in the back of my mind, even though I'm doing this shit.
Me too. After the show, I gotta.
I got my family, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like being responsible. Anybody can be responsible, like at an age, like, once your parents stop wiping your own butt, you're
responsible to.
for
That's
something.
true. That's true. That's crazy. That's actually.
We're responsible if like
You're walking around with the no wipe.
If you're the age of like 6 or 7, you're responsible of taking care of your room, your homework, your body and stuff.
Personal hygiene.
When you get like your preteens or stuff, they gave you like chores, they give you like yard work, and you still got homework. And when you're a teenager, you gotta get a job, and stuff. And like we're responsible. Like our whole life, we're gonna have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Whole life, someone's gonna be on top of us. Like if it's not our boss, if it's not like the CEO, it's gonna be like God is gonna be on top of us. He's gonna give us yeah, he gives like the family responsibility and stuff. Like father take care of this of like the household and stuff. So we're gonna be responsible, even though we don't want to be. We're gonna have to be responsible for something.
If you look too, like you're responsible. Like when you mess up, it falls on your parents because then they say
You didn't.
crazy.
Yeah. That's the first thing people say.
That's what I say when I go to my facility where I work at. I say, who raised these kids?
I'll be back then in kids class when I used to teach it. There used to be some kids over there. They'd be like,
they be blessed.
I'd be telling them, hey, bro, don't do that, cause that's gonna hurt you. You know my boss, bah, and you're like, oh wow. And they'd be like, and they get up and say, well, oh gosh, well, how did this happen? And I'm like, who raised these people? Like, your parents gotta control like, and there's some parents that be like, oh, that's just how he is and stuff. And I'm
no, you can tell
that can't be just how it is. Like, you gotta do something. Like, that's like an excuse. Like, I heard my cousin, he had like a mental disorder, and he was like Gabriel, and he's like doing random stuff. And I'm like, stop. He's like, no, Gabriel, I can't stop. Why can't you stop? Cause I have this and that, and it's not like a body shaking. Is that he's like messing with people and stuff. Like, and I'm like, you could you're self-aware. You're self-aware of what your problem. You can control that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can control like not touching something for a couple of minutes and stuff.
I think the last point, too, we like to put responsibility on people who are not ready for it either. I don't mean like mature wise, but I think actually literally their age. Like moms putting responsibility on their kids when they're not ready for that at the age. Like you said, siblings raising other siblings. Who said that?
I said that.
Yeah, they're not ready for that. You know what I mean?
Not.
Because they still fight with each other. They're
a kid raising another kid.
Yeah, like they're not gonna see the brother as the father. They're not gonna see them as the same thing.
Not just that too. They're gonna take away their childhood. Like he's living his childhood, you can take it away, take care of the other kid.
And that's what happened in my situation too. Like I didn't completely grow up like a child. I had to.
I feel like a childhood is is it a privilege?
Childhood is a privilege.
It's a privilege.
It's a blessing.
But some people don't get to experience it.
Like a lot of my childhood, I blocked out. Like when I try to remember certain things that people say, I say, how do you remember that? Because it wasn't a pleasant experience for me. So just be thankful if you do have a childhood too. Like for me, I blocked it out. Like you were a little kid and you doing all this stuff. It's things you remember, but when I go back and remember, it's usually never good. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a blessing from God to have childhood.
I'd be telling people that some people be like, bro, my life is hard, bro. Mom told me to do this. I'm like, dang. He was like, I hate when my mom like does this, like, tell me not to do this. I'm like, yeah, I hate it too whenever my parents love me and they don't want me to get sick. Yeah, I hate that too, bro.
But that man is nice, bro.
I hate it too. Like, look, you have a dad, the whole family,
exactly.
good financial stability.
Listen, you little.
Why can't we all be like broken families? Why can't we all have that?
Oh, you privileged little.
That's how I feel sometimes. I've seen people do that. I'm like, oh my god. There was a kid in my high school who was his family owned gas stations. I guess he was Pakistani. That man had money, and he went and got arrested for robbing someone's house, but he tried to be hard.
Oh no.
I'm like,
dude, yeah.
See,
I want what you want. I want what you have, and you want what I have. What do you mean?
Yeah, we have. It's dumb. Like, people are like, well, he's living a pretty good life, like, because he's like all tough and stuff, and I'm like, that's like whenever I used to be in church and people used to get like ministry, like they used to like fall on the floor and like scream and stuff. I was like, well, I really want to do that, and then like something in my mind was like, bro, you understand these people are possessed by demons. Like it's not exactly. They're going through stuff. Like you don't want to go through this stuff and stuff. You don't want to get possessed by a demon. It's like, oh yeah. Then I stopped like wanting to like roll on the floor and stuff.
I think too, like I remember you had an issue where you felt like you didn't have no testimony.
Mm-hmm.
That too, like no, you are blessed to have the story that you have. Like don't try to do things to dirty your reputation, so that when you come back for you say, "Oh, I have a testimony now." Everybody's story
that's dumb.
is a testimony.
Yeah.
No matter what the case is. Like if you ask me if I wanted to go back through everything I went through, you know what I'm gonna say?
What?
No, ma'am. No, sir. Absolutely not. Because yeah, you can tell your testimony and edify people, but when you're going through this, it's a struggle.
It's hard.
It's hard. So you got any last advice, Ananias?
Before we head out?
Responsibility?
Yeah, I said what I said. I said what need to be said. Yeah,
man.
That's good.
That man, nice, straight to the point, bro.
What about you, Gio?
I think it was good.
Yes. I think I just want to give a word of encouragement. Cause I've also had a really stressful week when it comes to responsibility. I just want to give a word of encouragement and say that responsibilities that you have are for a reason.
Amen.
And that just continue to persevere and push forward, because there's things that God is working on us in this process that we're going through. And even though now we may not understand it, I know in the future we will. And all that pain and stress and poverty or sickness or whatever the situation may be, it's not going to be forever.
Amen.
I know it's hard to say, because from the heart when you're broken, you want to say, oh, but when will it ever end? Or you say that, but you don't know how I feel. Mm-hmm. I know how you feel. Maybe not about your situation, but I know how it feels to feel like you don't feel like anything's ever going to change, or you feel like you're in a helpless position. I just want to encourage you and say that things will go for the better.
Amen.
Things will go for the better. I feel that in my spirit. Things will go for the better. And you will learn from it, and it'll make you stronger.
Amen.
A person who, you seen the weighted vest? Where people run with like vests, but and they run full speed, and then when they take that vest off, they're faster than ever. That's what it is. That's the process for us. That weighted vest, and it's making us sluggish and more hot because it's uncomfortable and we're sweating. But that weighted vest, we don't realize that when we take it off,
wow,
that it's propelling us further and faster. And the people who are next to you, who never trained, who never had that process, never had that weighted vest, they're gonna get blown out. You're gonna run right past them. And so I believe that, I think that's the process for you. It's like a weighted vest that when you take it off, and when God chooses to take it off for you, that you're able to go further, faster, and be conditioned in the spirit. So that's how I think today was pretty solid, down to earth talk. You know what I mean? So we just want to bless you all. Make sure that you share the live stream. Make sure you go back. I don't think we got any comments today, do we?
You got Ananias' mom on Facebook. But some couple announcements.
couple announcements. First, the biggest one is remember Champions Conference. October 24th. What time do doors open?
5 p.m. You guys can still pre-order your merch right now. If you guys want to pre-order, we have a sweater for $25.
You'll know it's a hoodie.
It's a hoodie. Yeah, it's a hoodie. I say sweater. T-shirt for, I want to say 15, I think it was, to pre-order. Yeah, 15. If you guys want to pre-order, you could send us a message on our Facebook or Instagram, or you could talk to one of the leaders or the youth pastors. What else do we
just
got?
leave a comment in there. We have service tomorrow.
We have service tomorrow as well.
We'll be streaming at 11 a.m. We'll be having service. So.
Anything else? I think that's it.
That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, and next week is Girls Talk, so
Next
make
week
sure
is
y'all
Girls
females
Talk.
connect.
Come with it. Make sure not just the females tune in.
No, the
but guys
broskies too. Yeah, the
broskies
broskies too.
And we're gonna be excited to hear
Yeah, it's in the.
their knowledge and wisdom and experience. So
Mhm.
we're gonna be really excited to see Girls Talk. And yeah, just we encourage you all to have a blessed, awesome day, awesome evening. You
Amen.
can go ahead and pray for us, Jill, and
All
we're
right.
out.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us to come and do this unplugged, Heavenly Father. I ask you, Lord, that we may take everything that we have talked about today and learn and take it home, Almighty God. I ask you, Lord, that you may continue helping us with our responsibilities, giving us responsibilities, Almighty God. You put us in these situations because you know we can handle it. We just need to realize it, Heavenly Father. I ask you, Lord, you may continue giving us the strength to get through it, my Heavenly Father. Lord Jesus, I ask you, Lord, you may bless the people watching and bless us, Lord Jesus. Take us home safely, Almighty God. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen. We out.